The couple's 3-year-old daughter found the baby unresponsive. Prosecutors say Bidhorn had cycled in and out of rehab for years and described other alleged incidents in which they say her drinking put her children at risk, including car crashes and even a disappearance. She pleaded not guilty.
And it seems like a mother has been charged with manslaughter because her baby ended up choking on an unpopped popcorn kernel. And it was happening while she was binge drinking.
Heartbreaking case on Long Island where a mother is charged with manslaughter after her baby choked to death on unpopped popcorn kernels. Carolyn Gussoff has details of what prosecutors call the mother's long history of alcohol abuse. And we do want to warn you, you may find some of the details disturbing.
Tears in the courtroom as 36-year-old Olivia Bidhorn listened to prosecutors detail her alleged binge drinking they say led to her toddler's death. Prosecutors say that in April, while her children were visiting her at her Merrick apartment, Bidhorn gave 18-month-old Luke Russell Jr. and his 3-year-old sister a bag of unpopped popcorn kernels, then left them alone while she drank vodka in the bathroom. The baby choked to death.
Her son was blue and cold to the touch. They estimate, allegedly, he was dead for about over an hour before 911 was called. Allegedly, she was in the bathroom, possibly getting sick because she had drank so much.
Nassau DA Ann Donnelly says the heartbreaking tragedy crossed the line from accident to a crime, manslaughter, because of her conscious disregard for a known choking hazard for young children.
Now, here, first question, I'm not going to try not to stop it too much, but when can a child start having popcorn? Because I wouldn't even think an 18-month-old should have popcorn. So I don't know what she was thinking, or maybe she just gave it to a 3-year-old, but not watching them? Yeah, you got to be charged.
And the binge drinking created an unjustifiable risk.
It's an accident if you leave the room for a few minutes and your child is, but it's criminal if you actually give your child these kernels to eat and not be present.
How do you feel about her being charged? Bidhorn's estranged husband declined comment as he left court. The couple's 3-year-old daughter found the baby unresponsive. Prosecutors say Bidhorn had cycled in and out of rehab for years and described other alleged incidents in which they say her drinking put her children at risk, including car crashes and even a disappearance. She pleaded not guilty. Bidhorn was being treated at a rehab center, but prosecutors say she could not be relied on to return to court, so she's now being held on $250,000 bail and faces 5 to 15 years if convicted. In Merrick, Long Island, Carolyn.
First of all, why give her visitation in the first place? It might seem harsh to some people, but what was the point of leaving her alone with the children? It doesn't seem like that she's responsible enough just from that little brief description that we got. It doesn't sound like she needs to be left alone with children anyway. So why leave her? They say, because remember, they initially said that during the visitation, so the father or somebody dropped the kids off for their visit with the mother, and tragedy happened. I can't imagine what the father's going through at this point. Let's get over into this next video and just go over to more stuff.
On Long Island now, a mother is facing charges after her 18-month-old choked to death, and police say the mother was binge drinking at home at the time and had given her son popcorn kernels to eat, and a kernel got lodged in that boy's throat. News 4's Greg Sergel live for us in Merrick with this tragic story. Greg?
And Adam, we're here in the neighborhood where that mom, Olivia Bidhorn, lived, and neighbors telling us off camera that these allegations are simply terrible. Bidhorn was in court today on a bail hearing, and a Nassau judge ordered her held on a $500,000 bond.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking.
Olivia Bidhorn showed signs of that heartbreak in court. A 36-year-old mom facing a Nassau judge on manslaughter charges in the choking death of her 18-month-old son, Luke.
Her son was, blue and cold to the touch, and
Nassau's DA says it happened in April here in Bidhorn's Merrick apartment. Bidhorn had separated from her husband of 3 years while battling her alcoholism. Her son and daughter came for an unsupervised visit, and during that weekend stay, prosecutors say Bidhorn relapsed. This empty vodka bottle found in her bathroom. And in the next room, popcorn kernels littered the floor near her kids' toys. The DA says Bidhorn had left those unpopped kernels for her children to eat. And with mom allegedly drunk in the bathroom, Luke choked to death on the kernels with his older sister looking on.
You're drunk in the bathroom? Now, I would never advocate. I don't understand why you're getting drunk, that intoxicated with your children around in the first place. But why in the bathroom? I mean, I don't think you should be getting drunk in front of your children in the first place, but at least stay in there. Come on now. She had no regard, or she wasn't even thinking at all. They said it took an hour after he died before she actually finally called the police. That's how long it took her to even realize.
Sadly, she was the one who apparently actually went to get her mom to say something's wrong with my brother.
Bidhorn's husband offered no comment as he left court today. His estranged wife, prosecutors say, has a history of binge drinking. In one case last August, she actually went missing for 3 days. But the DA says her husband believed she was sober when he allowed the children to make that visit back in April.
Everyone in her life had basically written her off except her husband, who was trying to, even though they're separated, trying to make sure she had a place to live and was staying sober. And
you do what you can for the mother of your children. I mean, that's what a man does. I mean, but oh my God. At some point, you got to look out for what's best for your children. Of course, you don't want to believe that she would never get right, but addiction is a hard thing to kick. And they do some awfully stupid things and terrible things. But let's keep going.
Now, Bidhorn's lawyer declined comment today, but in statements to police, Bidhorn apparently said that she didn't feed the kernels to her children. They had apparently, in her words, fallen onto the ground of the apartment, and that's how the kids got access to them. Since her son's death, Bidhorn has been in rehab. It's unclear if that will continue now that she's being held in custody.
Does that make it any better? Am I the only one who heard that and was like, does that make it any better? First of all, that means you didn't clean them up, and then you didn't feed it to them in the first place. You gave them the bag of popcorn. Well, the defense attorneys will say whatever they can to get her over the situation. Let's get over into this AI breakdown, y'all, and see what else we can find out, just to bring all this picture together. So on June 29th, Olivia, a 36-year-old mother from New York, was arraigned and held on $500,000 bond after being charged with manslaughter and child endangerment. The charges followed a tragic death of her 18-month-old son, Luke, who choked on raw, uncooked popcorn. So the incident happened in April 2026 at her residence, while the toddler and the 3-year-old sister were on an unsupervised visit. The prosecutor stated that she gave her children a bag of raw, uncooked popcorn kernels to eat. I don't know. That sounds... I think she tried to pop them in. There was some inside. So the American Academy of Pediatrics explicitly lists popcorn as a severe choking hazard for children under 4. So she gave it to, oh my God, both kids aren't even supposed to be eating popcorn, especially unsupervised. So according to the Nassau County District Attorney's Office, she left the children completely unattended to binge drink vodka in the bathroom. Investigators later found an almost empty bottle of Tito's in the bathroom. While she was incapacitated in the bathroom, the 18-month-old choked on kernels. The 3-year-old sister eventually found her brother unresponsive and alerted her mother. Your 3-year-old has to come and get you out of a binger because the little baby died, her brother. I can't imagine. Maybe some silver lining to where she she's young enough to where she won't remember this. But if she does, that's something I wouldn't even wish on my worst enemy. That's crazy, y'all. Maybe my word, I don't know. But let's keep going into this. So authorities estimated that the toddler had been dead for over an hour before 911 was called. Emergency responders found the child blue, cold to the touch, and surrounded by raw kernels on the floor. She entered a plea of not guilty to the charges. During the court hearing, prosecutors detailed a history of severe substance abuse. They highlighted past incidents where her alcoholism endangered her children, including 2 drunk driving car crashes, one while pregnant, and an incident where she went missing for days. She was initially released on an inpatient rehabilitation facility with an ankle monitor. However, because she lost the health care coverage required to pay for the facility, the judge ordered her to be held on $500,000 bail at the jail. The judge issued an order of protection from her estranged husband and her surviving 3-year-old daughter. She faces 5 to 15 years in prison if she is convicted of manslaughter. She is scheduled to return to court July 23rd, 2026. How would y'all be feeling if y'all was the father? You gave her a chance because no one else would. Of course, she's the mother of your child and you want to look after her. At least a good man would want to. Until she shows you you shouldn't. But do you think she already showed that she shouldn't be taken care of? She shouldn't be coddled. I understand alcoholism is a illness or a disease, how some people want to say it, but how long are you going to put up with it and help them? Maybe some people say you should help them until the end, but and then you can't put too much blame on the father because I'm assuming she was lying and saying that she wasn't drinking anymore. She obviously was. But, oh my God, to a weekend? I wonder if it's the first time he left her with them in a while. Because a whole weekend is a long time. A day visit, okay, supervised. Unsupervised weekend trips with someone who has a history like this. It's a tragic scene no matter how you look at it, y'all. What are your thoughts? Do you think she should be convicted? I mean, I think so, but tell me if you disagree. And would you have trusted her with your kids after all of that because she's the mother of your child? It's an absolutely tragic story, but we will keep up with it to see exactly what kind of time she gets and what all the ending is of this story.